I'm John Shrek McPhee, the Sheriff of Baghdad, and I'm going to talk about the video diagnostic stance. I'm here with Nick McGarry from Nemo Arms, and we're going to do a video diagnostic stance. Nick, you ready?
Ready.
All right, whenever you're ready. Okay, stance. The only thing that matters with stance is the head is over in front of the lead foot. And what I see, a lot of the common problems with stance is based off of guys taking pictures and the internet, right? And guys like to look cool, but that's not really practical for stance. And a good stance should be based off of mid-stride of a walk. As you walk, your head is over or in front of the lead foot, so your rear foot could come off the ground. And most people forget this. As a commando in combat, you should never stand still as you shoot. You should always be on the move, and you should always take those shots on the move. And as you're doing this, your head is always over in front of your lead foot because this is as natural as walking, and people do this since they're 2 years old. So with stance, because the head has to be over the rear foot to take another step, this is actually mid-stride of a walk, and this becomes really good stance. And it keeps you from getting pushed backwards. And the so what of getting pushed backwards with bad stance is the fact that as my shoulder blades move backwards and I get pushed backwards by the gun, as my shoulder blades move backwards, what's going to happen is the tip of my gun's going to move up. Well, the brain has to compensate by driving the gun down to keep it in the same place. As I come forward to regain my stance, what's going to happen is now I got to push the gun back up. So this adds a lot of movement into the gun, and it'll affect your accuracy and how tight of a group you can shoot just by your body moving. And I'd say stance is probably 90% of having being able to shoot very accurate groups and also being able to shoot with really good speed. So what I'm going to do now is we're gonna review Nick's video, and we're going to talk to Nick about what we see. And then generally some of the common things is a guy's Nick's size, he doesn't need much stance, but what he does need is a list of best practices to help him shoot better. And what I see with bigger guys is bigger guys want to push their hips backwards to get their head in place. And as your hips move to the rear, it moves the center of gravity to the rear. And what happens is you'll get pushed backwards. As a guy has a better center of gravity and he's just leaning forward, he's not going to get pushed backwards. So we're going to review the video with Nick right now, right? So let's watch the video. All right, whenever you're ready. Okay, first thing I see is from center of your feet to the center of your head is you pushed your hips backwards. So as you push your hips backwards, you're going to get pushed backwards just a little bit. And what I need you to do overall is just lean forward. And leaning forward is the best way to do business for stance because, again, this is mid-stride of a walk, the most important part, right? So what I need you to do is I need you to push your knees over the balls of your feet. And this is going to keep you from pushing your hips backwards. The next thing that happens is the shoulders have to be in front of the hips. And the shoulders in front of the hips, Nick has a good angle. There's no issue with that, right? The next thing is head to shoulders. And as I clear this, his head is on a forward angle. This is pretty good, but what I see is his shoulder could be shrugged up and forward just a little bit more. And as the shoulders are shrugged up and forward, this is going to lock the body, keep the shoulder from moving, keep the upper body from moving, and keeping everything tight to the gun. And once the gun is tight and you don't move as the gun shoots, you're instantly going to be able to shoot as fast and accurate as you ever have, just based off a good stance. The feet. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the feet. The feet need to be about half a walking distance apart, or excuse me, half a walking distance forward and about walking distance apart. And this is natural, and this is mid-stride of a walk and with the feet. And as you start to train this, it trains the brain to be mid-stride of a walk. Overall, your stance is going to be much better. I'm John Shrek McPhee, the Sheriff of Baghdad. This is Stance with my buddy Nick, Video Diagnostics.